Earlier this week, I shared a reflection based on the line from the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, where Paul's talking about that thorn in the flesh and realizing that to overcome the weaknesses or the pains that happen in life, God's grace is enough. That's enough for him. Reflecting on that led me to our musical reflection for today, to the beautiful prayer by St. Ignatius of Loyola, the Schutte. You might know it. It's a very popular prayer to pray. Ultimately, it's one that leads us back to Paul's prophetic line, writing to that Corinthian community, that God's grace is enough. Right here, in the midst of Ignatius's own musings that we pray with, he says, "Give me nothing more than your love and grace, that these alone are enough for me." I just wonder how often we actually believe that. Brené Brown, who is a phenomenal writer, if you haven't read her, run, don't walk to your nearest laptop or computer and get on Amazon and buy her books, The Gifts of Imperfection or Daring Greatly or Dare to Lead. They speak to the core, I think, of the struggles of life, but most especially to this idea that what we long for most is belonging, and in belonging, ultimately knowing that we're loved. But knowing as disciples, my friends, that we have that from our God, his grace, his love, freely and unqualified given to us, we still struggle. We still feel like we don't belong. We feel unlovable. But there is nothing, and hear me say that again, there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God. Nothing. You're sitting there thinking, well, Father Bradley, you don't know what I've done in my life. You're right, I don't. But what I do know is that nothing can separate you from the love of God. Not even a global pandemic can separate us, my friends, from the love of God. And we have to believe that, because there's so many people who don't know the truth of our faith. But in us, witnessing and living to the very realities and truths of who we are as God's beloved, we can bring the beauty of his love that is freely given, that overcomes everything that we might have done in our lives, to those who need that message because they don't feel like they belong and they don't feel that anyone loves them. But yet there is someone we know who does. Love himself, the name of our Jesus. Grace and love, these are enough for me. I hope that we can lean into that truth as we continue to grow as his disciples and change as we navigate this global pandemic and as we prepare to get back to our churches, albeit in different ways. But when we come back, I hope we come back with an awareness that yes, God's grace and love are enough for me, so that when we gather, we can give thanks and praise that we have come to know and believe and are steeped in the truth of that reality, so that we could witness to the belovedness that is ours as siblings to each other in this family of faith.
Take my heart, O Lord, take my hopes and dreams. Take my mind with all its plans and schemes. Give me nothing more than your love and grace. These alone, O God, are enough for me. and my memory. Take my tears, my joys, my liberty. Give me nothing more than your love and grace. These alone, O God, are enough for me. I surrender, Lord, all I have and hold. I return to you my gift untold. Give me nothing more than your love and grace. These alone, O God, are enough for me. When the darkness falls on my final days, take the very breath that sing your praise.